Okay, let's do block number 5. This is the block that has the lake, and it's rather involved. So don't be afraid, we can do this. We're gonna make it so beautiful by the end of it. You're going to love it, your kids are going to love it, everyone's gonna love it. So cut out your lake pieces. I ended up just using I'm just using the same fabric for the lining as I am the main. So got my lining fabric as well. And grab your little pieces. Them all ready. I actually don't know if I have the right amount of these little reed things. I don't think I do, because I think I only have one cut out. So I might need to go back and just cut out another one, but that's okay. Just get all of your pieces together, and you're going to need, this is gonna be a little bit 3D, so you are gonna need some extra of the felt that you used. So if we've used fusible webbing, you can peel the paper and backing off of each of the pieces, and the block's gonna get assembled. So we can iron and glue the bridge onto spare fabric. So get some spare fabric for your bridge here. I'm gonna move these other pieces out of the way for just a second. There's some itty bitty ones on this, so just make sure you don't lose them. It's too long, so we're gonna go like this. Okay, so first things first, let's iron and glue this down onto the spare fabric with our iron. So let me grab my pressing mat, get that in place here. So once we've done that, we can cut it out so that it's double-sided. Okay, and then from there, we will need some hook and loop tape, and we're just gonna cut the scratchy side to one of the short edges of the bridge. Okay, so I cut it there. And we can also cut, you know, the soft side as well, so that it's the same length here. So trim that little piece off. But the scratchy side is the side that we are going to affix to our bridge here. Okay, so what we need to do is just stitch all the way around it, all 4 sides, with our sewing machine. So I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna show it, but just make sure you back stitch and stuff. That's important. Okay, I've just stitched down the hook and loop tape, you can see. And now I'm just gonna set that aside for a minute because I want to align my lily pads and my reeds. So I did go ahead and cut out a couple more, but peel the backing off, and I'm going to align these things generally in the same way that they appear on the block itself, the printed block itself. More open. And I want to put a block over there, or a reed over there, and a reed over here, and a lily pad over here, and my final lily pad goes over here. Okay, and I can put all of these down in place. So we're just gonna iron them on because they already have the adhesive on them. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to get it to adhere properly. Uh-oh, that one kind of got stuck, didn't it? And never got stuck down. I've got one more that needs to be stuck. I need to be sobering. These are just taking a while to get stuck down today for some reason. We also need to glue down the little reeds, so let's grab all of them, peel the backings off, stick those guys down. Uh-oh. I do not know why, but I'm having a lot of trouble with this lily pad sticking. It just does not want to stick. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you just really have to hold it in place. All right. Next thing we need to do is stitch the reeds in the grass into place, and then we're going to do a little bit of stitching backwards and forwards here in between the reeds to make them look like they're connected with the little with threads. We also want to stitch around the lily pads to get that cute little design on them. So let's go over to the sewing machine and we'll do that now. All right, we're stitching around the little reeds to keep them in place. Alright, so one reed down, and we also can connect the green part of the reed here to the actual reed itself. With some threads, some stitches. Alright, super cute. Once you've done that, you're gonna go and repeat that for the other reeds. Here you can see what I've done here. And also you want to do some stitching on the lily pad. Alright, so I've done some stitching on the lily pad. So just repeat that until you've done all of them. Okay, so I've just finished stitching all around my reeds and my lily pads, and now we need to add the little flowers to the lily pads. You can add them wherever you like them best. They should hang off just a little bit on each one. And glue them down with your iron. You can also go through and top stitch them if you would like, just for extra stitching, extra hold. Okay. We can move on to the frog. So this is optional if you want your frog and octopus to be able to stick to other felt items like the bridge or, you know, the lily pads or things like that. We can put a strip of hook and loop tape on the back of the frog and the octopus. If you don't care about being able to move it, then you don't have to put the hook and loop tape on. I am actually running low on hook and loop tape, so I'm not going to do that. But if you are going to do the hook and loop tape thing, then you'll want to put the frog on, make him double-sided, and stick him on the back of another piece. If you're making the frog not movable, then you can just iron him on and then stitch him down so he doesn't have to move around. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make him immovable and the octopus as well, just because I'm running lower on hook and loop tape. And you can line them up, you know, however you would like. So in this case, the octopus would be like about there, and the frog would go in around here somewhere. But just iron them down where you want them to go. Okay, and you're gonna wanna go through and stitch a little face on the frog and stitch a little face on the octopus. You can hand embroider that, or you can machine embroider, or you know, whatever it is. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to cut pieces of ribbon for our fish. So we should have 6 fish. Don't know where all the rest of my fish went, so I might need to cut a couple more out. That's the issue. These little pieces are so small, they kind of tend to blow away a little bit. So yeah, I might need a couple more fish here, but that's not a problem. Cut your pieces of ribbon between 4 and 6 inches in length, and you're going to attach your fish to them. So just, if you have cord or whatever it is that you're doing, just cut them at varying lengths between 4 and 6 inches. Cut another one that's 4. Cut one that's 6. Cut one that's a little bit in between both. Until I have, okay, there we go. So I have 6 of them. For each fish, what we're gonna do is sandwich one end of the ribbon or the cord or whatever it is that you're using. You're gonna sandwich that in between a scrap of the spare fabric. So just cut off a little piece of your spare fabric. So take an end of ribbon, take your fish, peel the backing off. Sandwich that and press it down so it adheres. Okay. And once we've done this, we are going to need to stitch this cord down in place, and we're gonna stitch around the little fish. And then we're gonna cut it out so that this fish is double-sided and he's attached to the cord. So repeat that for all of the fish that you have and then stitch the fish. Okay, so once you have attached your frog and your octopus and we've created all of the fish here, what we need to do is make it so that our fish are actually attached to one end under the bridge, and they're gonna be stitched like right here on the edge, along the edge. So clip them in place, and when we stitch these, we want to just go back and forth a bunch of times to make sure that they stay in place. And do the same thing with the other side of the fish. Alright, and let's just stitch. You're going to back stitch a bunch of times over it. Alright, I've just stitched my fish. So now the final thing that we're going to do is attach the bridge, one end of the bridge to the side that does not have the hook and loop tape, okay? So you're going to attach that side. And we need to stitch this in a rectangle shape so that it really stays on here properly. Okay, I've just stitched a little rectangle around this edge of the bridge. Now, the last thing we need to do is fix the other side of the hook and loop tape. All right, so we need to affix the other side of the hook and loop tape to the bridge, to where the fish are. So go ahead and stick that down and pin it in place. And this is where you might want to go a little further from the raw edge, just because that's going to get tucked into the lining, but stitch in a rectangle around that now. And now we have our whole lake block number 5. You can put your bridge down, and now the little toy cars can drive over it, and you can check out the fish going fishing. So this is such a fun block. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I hope you love yours as well. All right, let's make block number 6. This is the city block. So I've got my lining fabric here cut out, and I've got my main fabric cut out of this really cute little star print I found. And I've got my pattern piece so I can line it up. So grab your little bag of pieces, and all we really need to do if we've used fusible webbing is just peel off the backing and then stitch around it. So this one's a pretty simple to compose block. I've made my buildings a little bit all different colors because I figured that would be how a city would look. So I think that one goes over here. And you could get really fancy and put windows and, you know, all of that stuff on if you want to. I think I'm gonna move my pieces around a little bit. That's the beauty of this project. You can assemble it however you want. Make your skyline however you want it to look. Sandwich that in there, and then put this guy on the end. So all the buildings are slightly different color, and then we can put our clouds wherever we want to put them. Okay, so let's peel our backings off, and then we're gonna stick everything down. The blocks that, you know, are the easiest to make are definitely the ones where you just peel the back off and go for it. always, you know, go and add extra embellishments and things after the fact if you want to. I might go back with some iron-on vinyl and add little windows and things like that. Sky's the limit of what you can do here. I'm gonna go with my next building. Okay, and my last piece. Once you have it all down, you can go ahead and stitch around the buildings. You want to stitch all around the buildings and their shapes, and then you want to stitch the clouds down as well. So I have white thread in my machine, so I'm going to go stitch around the clouds right now. Just do your best to go around the curves. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, keep doing that with your building.